is Margaret Ann Windsor. That's my real name. I was kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace and brought to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Dempsey, and a married Childers. Peggy, the twin, and Carl were both dead. They were killed by their mother, Lina. And I even have the birth certificates and death certificates of the Carl. And they've all been altered and just marked through by the dates because they didn't fit with the birth date I had when I was brought there. So they just marked through it. The state of Alabama did. Hey, what? They had different birth date, different year. So anyway, because of who kidnapped me and who I am, my real name, I haven't been able to get an attorney. I wrote a book, medical malpractice book, in 77, 78, and had a letter from the U.S. attorney June the 23rd, 79. April Fool Day of 80, I was filled with antifreeze and should have died. Ended up being carried across the state line back to Huntsville, Alabama, where I worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. And it was really a challenge to try to work when you have brain damage like that. But I was flown to Larry Flint's in a political campaign in 83. And this is all I want to say about it. He just says here that, above all, Peggy knows how corrupt our political system is, especially those rotten this have to blank out of words for people who are cold-blooded killers in Georgia who were responsible for my shooting March the 6th of 78. And he mentions Larry McDonald, the doctor I'd written about, Congressman Doctor, and I was in that campaign in 83 to replace Larry McDonald when I was flown out to Mr. Flint's. Now then, he tells about I was made a pauper. It's who my dad is and who I am. Kidnapped and brought over here, and they've done everything in the book to me. The last years, I'm allergic to chemicals, though. I have an immune disorder, and if I'm around some chemicals, especially industrial, my immune system attacks itself. And inflammation, it ends up damaging my kidneys, my heart, my vascular. You should see me. Now then, that's been used because the agency behind it has employed the services of other law enforcement because they can get things on you and everybody has something to hide. So I'm this person running around trying to tell who I am. No attorney will touch it. In fact, I had a Bostwick a few years ago, back legal aid, that finally took it. And you know what? He just up and left. He Xeroxed it and left. It's not funny. Nothing is, because right now I have been force-fed, and I put this on videos. I put it on Facebook. Now I can't get into my Facebook account. I've taken it to the media because it involves a lot of his shooting and a lot of shootings and murders like that. It was a mechanism used. But right now I want to zero in. They made a pauper out of me. I've had to go to the up and down the Blue Ridge Parkway, find a place to put a tent up off on the Appalachian Trail. In the sun, there's bears, there's snakes, rattlesnakes, there's everything. No food. Nobody wanted to get involved and help me. They were told by the police not to. And I was literally a joke, pulling out Hustler magazine to try to show them this endorsement and what had happened to me. The reason I couldn't get a job, I told the truth. Found out about my real name and kidnapping. And you know what they wanted to see? Just dirty pictures in Hustler. So I wanted to, I lived out, couldn't get a place to live, jobs shut down. So in 06, about April, homeless assistants, listen at this. You'd think I was this person who was lower, that couldn't do anything. You should see what I had to withstand. I was taken to this place, Edinburgh. Of course, that you associate with Edinburgh, Scotland, castle, etc. So these people, I stayed there, and they totally, it was planned. You had a U.S. Marshal. His name's Robert, and I talked to him over the years. I still have his phone number. But he was a part of it. Terry Sawyer, who has credentials of a couple of law enforcement. So it looks like they're doing me a favor. But what's happened here, I can't get an attorney. What's happened here is I was taken to Edinburgh. It was pre-planned, and I was soaked in chemicals. It was a little studio apartment, and it's Section 8 is what I want to say. That is federal law, and federal law, hey, you got the FBI in response to the book they sent me a letter in response to the book I wrote on medical malpractice, and Larry McDonald, the doctor, and his plane goes down. So it's federal that's involved too. But it didn't matter because I'm getting the heck beat out of me, and it looks like I'm ready to die, so they'll get away with it all. They've saved their jobs, and nothing's going to hurt them. This is America. So here is Jennifer Sink. This is Edinburgh, here in Roanoke, and they're talking about they don't discriminate and all this. This is so hideous, just this part of my life, that if it's told, oh my God. But this is her name and signature, and I just got the letter. Now, in '06, I stayed 6 months, and that's when I started my body, my legs and knees, not from the hiking and the cold, it was from the chemicals, the inflammation. So now, over the years, because it hasn't stopped, I can hardly walk, and I'm 75 years old. So I've had to go back to the places that Section 8, I won't mention the other. I paid my rent, even though it was hard to do. So if you did a background check on me, I can't even use my real name. And it's like these letters. You don't see what I'm responding to. There's not an ounce of truth in it. But here she's written me because in '06, I stayed there 6 solid months sucking it up. And they all knew it. The people there, she did, the maintenance, etc. The marshal had gone there ahead. It was all pre-planned, and Terry Sawyer. Now, Terry has a couple of IDs with the government, so I don't know. They are legit, though. They sure looked like it to me, and I know that he's been a part of it. So let me get down to it here. I had to leave, therefore I broke a lease. And she knew that I had an immune disorder, and what they're doing when they deliberately feed me chemicals, it's like feeding a kid who's allergic to peanut butter. Well, I don't know what that was. That's allergic to peanut butter, and killing them, or assaulting them, or putting a bee, someone who's allergic to bee, putting a bee in a car or a room, or 2 or 3 of them, and someone dying from it. It's assault with intent. You purposely did it. So now then, I have been through a couple of other HUD, federally funded, Section 8 for the elderly, and I don't know if I can get that on this tape or not. But I end up coming back because I have nowhere to go. You'd think I was a slug or something. So now I've had to go back to her, and I want to mention, well, no, I won't either. That won't make sense unless I give a lot of background on it. I went back last Thanksgiving, and she told me that they wouldn't have another apartment empty for 5 years because nobody was going to die. Well, they're all my age, just about. So, yeah, somebody's going to die. But anyway, a couple of, a month later she calls, and suddenly they have somebody that died. Well, I looked at it, and the more, as bad as I needed it, I didn't take it because of something she said, too. She said, well, you don't know when, and she was talking about the chemicals, if I moved back, would have to be fed me again. Of course, this is a conversation between she and I, and she can always say I'm lying, unless this is all hauled into court. Then it proves itself. So I